Okay.
Okay, we're live on YouTube. There is a delay, just a few minutes, or not a few minutes, just a few seconds. So I'm going to mute my mic and I'm going to start sharing my screen so they can see the agenda. There is.
How long is the delay? Because I'm on it, click the link and I still have nothing.
I have it right now, so.
Yeah, when we tried it earlier, it jumped on pretty quick.
How long is the
Right there,
delay?
Bob.
Because I'm on it,
10 seconds.
click the link and I still have nothing.
Do they realize you are connected there so you can vote, right?
Yeah, I can.
And they can hear us if you speak up, right?
Yeah, they should,
So,
because we're not muted anymore.
Yeah.
I just go
yeah,
on there and have the picture on there,
yeah,
like you have there.
yeah. But people can see we're both there.
Can't figure out. I don't know what, I could ask Bob what the tiger is as far, but I hate to.
Yeah, because now we're on YouTube, right? Like, can people hear us now?
Well, I don't think so if we're live.
Mm-hmm.
Four minutes.
Oh boy.
Gotta get Jason. Difference between us, so we're gonna otherwise we have to have two things. One, we have this, we have this. Where I've done all the rest of them.
Yeah.
So, did he sign it?
So when you were talking about a split screen,
All right, I just
here and
I
here.
spoke too soon. I got an email or a text from Jason Schaffner. He didn't have the link, so I resent the link.
He probably was on his way home, wherever he was driving.
Two minutes.
I'm ready.
Ready or not.
He's gonna hit the gavel. He did it that one night and I about flew off the chair. Somebody will probably say we're too close together. We'll say it's just an illusion of some.
You can go ahead.
One minute.
I like this.
I just got that. Joe had one and my other one kept collapsing.
Mike, Bob, and Mandy, if you want to unmute.
I got that out at Walmart.
Did you? I've always wanted
There he
something.
is.
There he is.
Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
There we go.
Okay. I don't see myself.
We see you.
We see you.
Come on.
Okay, time to start. Mike, would you call roll, please?
Yes. Bob Smith,
Here.
Andy Croft,
Here.
Linda Meininger,
Here.
Michelle Lott,
Here.
Jason Schaffner,
Here.
all present.
First item on the agenda, suspension of public input. Whereas House Bill 197 from 2020, which was enacted on March 27th, 2020, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic health emergency, authorizes the Board of Education to hold and attend meetings by means of teleconference, video conference, or any other similar electronic technology. And whereas by doing so, it is not possible for the Board of Education to have effective public participation, I therefore move that the board hereby suspend Board Policy 169.1, public participation at board meetings, for the April 20th, 2020 meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mike, would you call for a vote?
Smith,
Yes.
Meininger,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Croft,
Yes.
Lott.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. So welcome everybody to the April regular stated meeting of the Sidney City School Board of Education. And I suspect this is probably the first video board meeting we've ever had.
Say this.
Next item on the agenda, addition, deletions, and changes to the agenda. Does anyone have any?
No.
No.
Hearing none, the agenda will stand as presented. Next item is first reading of the new revised policies. Did anyone have any questions on those? I think I had one that was a formatting issue that Mr. Humble is going to have corrected, but other than that, I was fine with the policies. Okay, hearing nothing, those will stay until next meeting where they will be voted on for being accepted or not. Next item is our treasurer's report.
Okay, first item of the day are the minutes, financial reports, and invoices paid. I'd like to request a motion to approve the minutes, financial reports, and invoices paid as presented.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mandy,
Second.
Linda,
Okay. It's a pretty quiet month for March, really. Not much from the prior month. We did receive the final property tax collections for this year. We ended up just slightly ahead of the budgeted number by $68,000. So basically right on target there. The unrestricted or the state foundation was basically unchanged from the prior month. There are no property tax allocations or TPP payments during the month of March. And all other revenue still holding about the same as it has for several months now. On the expenditure side, salaries and benefits widened a bit more as we were expecting as we come past another month past when we made the payment for the HSA. So we were now under budget by just under 160,000 in salaries and benefits. Purchase services, really no change from the prior month, pretty much holding at the same number above where we had budgeted for the year to this point. Probably don't see a lot of change in there for the last quarter as we go through there. Supplies and materials still holding better than budget. That's a positive. Capital outlay gets closer and closer to budget as each month goes by. And again, we've talked about unless something unusual happens, we'll be right on budget there. And I don't see, especially in this environment, doing anything that's going to increase our capital outlay for the year. And so overall expenditures, we're about 2% above budget. And so that should shrink a little bit just as salaries and benefits will hold their own and probably give us a little benefit there as those grow a little bit better than budget. I was looking at our forecast today, and so I think we're going to come in under budget from salaries and benefits maybe by another $100,000 to $200,000. So but that's pretty much it on financials, unless someone has some questions.
Any questions?
No.
Mike, will you call for a vote, please?
Croft,
Yes.
Meininger,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Lot.
Yes.
Motion carries. On to item B, and that is the purchase of new mowers. I'd like to request a motion to purchase a new 14, and that should be 14 foot, not 14 inch, batwing grooming mower and front mount Z-turn mower plus accessories. Both mowers from Apple Farm Supply at a cost of $30,778.66.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Michelle,
I'll second.
Linda? Any discussion? By the way, 14 inches would be nice. It'd be very detailed.
It would be very detailed and it would take a very long time.
Yes, it would.
As far as
Okay.
the need for the replacement,
Yeah, the other ones, believe it or not, we've had them for, I believe it's 3 years at this point, and they still have good value for resale. We've sold actually both of them, and so between the two, we got $15,000 for them. So we got a $10,000 educational discount through Apple to begin with. So what would have been 40 was now 30. And then we sold the other two for 15. So really, all in all, this two brand new mowers cost us $15,000.
That's good. That's good.
Any other questions? Mike, we call for the vote?
Lot,
Yes.
Meininger,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yep.
Croft,
yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item C is the T-Mobile for Education Agreement. I'd like to request a motion to approve entering into a one-year agreement in the T-Mobile for Education program for the use of data hotspots at a cost of $20 per month per line, with the initial use of up to 175 lines.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Jason,
I'll second.
Linda? Any questions? These are to facilitate the remote learning for families that do not have internet connectivity to support that. Is that correct?
Correct.
And this is going to continue for a whole year?
Correct. You couldn't sign up for less than a year. You had to have a year subscription. And basically, I think it's because of the discounting of the price from what they typically would be.
Any other questions? Mike, will you call for the vote?
Schaffner,
Yep.
Meininger,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries. And the last item for me is the emergency levy. I'd like to request a motion to adopt the attached resolution declaring it necessary to levy a tax for a period of 10 years in order to avoid an operating deficit. Said levy renewal to be placed before the electors on the August 4th, 2020 ballot, with first collection in 2021.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mandy? And Mike, you want to give a little background of why
Yeah,
this
it
is on?
would feel and is highly unusual, considering we're still waiting on the results of the current levy. With the delay in the way the votes are being received and counted and so forth, to be able to get a renewal, to get the new levy on August, should we not be successful, the first deadline is to have this resolution submitted to the county auditor by May 1st, at which then they prepare what the collections would be. They send us that information back. And if you remember, then we have to have a second resolution, which is the resolution to proceed, which needs to be to the Board of Elections by May 6th. So with all of that timing and knowing that, you know, even though once you pass this one, we'll have to schedule another special meeting to be able to pass the second of the two. And we know at the very earliest, April 29th, if they counted everything from April 28th, is that what the timing, I'm trying to remember what the timing was, but the likelihood of us knowing the results in time to not do both of these is unlikely. But the fact of the matter is that even if we go through this exercise, we can still withdraw the issue from the ballot for August. So I just felt it was more important, and Bob and I talked about it was important at least to go through the exercise, have it placed on the ballot, because we can always withdraw it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we're waiting till the November general election with all the other stuff that'll be going on during that time period.
Any questions from anyone? Hearing none, Mike, will you call for a vote? Or will you call the vote?
Yes. Lot,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Meininger,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yep.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And that's the end of our treasurer's report. Next up is superintendent's report.
Before I do move on from that, Bob.
Yeah.
I did want to get a kind of a little consensus. I did talk to the county auditor, and they said that they would have the information that they need to have back to us by Thursday. So kind of wanted to get a feel for when everybody would be comfortable with scheduling the special meeting to pass the second resolution.
I can tell you personally that since I barely leave my house anymore, that I am free any night.
Pretty much the
I
same.
can even make 5
Mike-
o'clock or over lunch work.
My calendar is open.
Mine too.
Would everybody be okay with just if we do say 5 o'clock on Monday?
Mhm.
as long as you get it to the newspaper in time.
Oh, yeah, we'll notify them yet this week. But that way I got the information back from the auditor, make sure the next resolution is prepared correctly for all the new dates and all those type of things, and then be ready for Monday.
Okay.
And then I will send out an invite for that date.
Sounds great.
Great, good, thank you.
Mike,
Next
did
up-
you see on that last emergency levy? It looks like Jason, somehow it shows up not present at vote.
Oh, yeah, I'll open it and mark it all unanimous and then close the voting. We're good.
Did it not go through?
Yeah, it did, but I think your first button on there, I think Bob's talked about this, the first button is not present at vote or something else. Is it, or it's not yes?
Abstain.
Oh,
Yeah, or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're
It's
just
fixed.
the wrong one. So we're good. Okay.
Okay, you ready for me?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I would like to get a motion to approve the personnel actions as presented.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Linda,
I'll second.
Michelle? Any questions? I'm just disappointed that we have 2 new science teachers and I won't have the opportunity to meet them. Well, not tonight, at least.
I believe they're watching online right now.
Well,
So
welcome aboard
say hi to
if
them.
it passes. Any other questions? Mike, will you call the vote?
Meininger,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yep.
Croft,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, I'd like to get a motion to approve the resolution for teacher and administrator evaluations due to the virus situation we're in.
Bob, is the remote learning one next?
Yeah, that's
Correct. I'm sorry. Did I? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one.
You're
So
okay.
My bad. So the approve a motion for remote learning contingency plan. That's first.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mandy,
Second.
Michelle? Bob, you want to give a real quick overview of this?
Yes, so just the law is approved for us to do that, but it also requires us to do a resolution that says that we're allowed to do this. Basically what it is.
So it's just house cleaning.
You want me, exactly. You want me to go ahead and do my report on this now as well?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So Bob had asked me to do a distance learning report. So this would be a good place to do that. As I'm sure all of you know, the governor today said the school is out for the year. And we're going to continue to do remote learning. There has been discussion about possibly ending the school year early, but I'll have that discussion at some point down the road a little bit. But here's what we're currently doing in grades pre-K through 2. We are offering digital learning opportunities as well as paper options that are available for families to pick up at the schools in a designated location. These plans cover a 2-week at a time process. And if families want to return to work, they can do this. We have marked bins and containers where they pick up their packets. There are no grades given for PK2. But feedback is offered and teachers are making continued efforts to connect with the students in a personal way, either through calls, Google meetings, emails, apps for communication. Grades 3 through 12 are working in Google Classrooms with students. No grades are being recorded in PowerSchool for grades 3 and 4. Grades are being taken in grades 5 through 12 with administrators monitoring the impact on students' grades and should be taking specific actions to ensure flexibility And of course, empathy is applied to individual situations depending on what's going on. And teachers are setting and communicating via kind of like quote office hours for students and families to reach out. We also sent out a survey concerning distance learning for families to just try to get a feel of where they were. And of course, it's kind of all over the map, but we have many that are saying that it's going well. We have others that are saying that it's driving them crazy and that they don't have time. A lot of parents are working, trying to get back with kids. So hence, when I talked about beginning at the very beginning of this, that I want to look at possibly shortening the school year just a little bit based upon some of that information. But again, we'll have that discussion at another time. There were 511 respondents, which is a pretty good statistical number. The admin were given the results on the 17th, and the questions were broken out by building. And they were asked to share out at this weekend, this Friday's admin meeting. We're meeting weekly now via Zoom on 4/24 and how they're going to use that data. Technology-wise, we do have hotspots and Chromebooks going to families that were based upon tech survey. All the hotspots are in, but we also have public Wi-Fi is available at Northwood and Sidney High School now. So even if the hotspots are not working as well, people can still pull up to the high school back by the tennis courts and baseball field, or also in the U section at Northwood, and there's free public Wi-Fi there now. With no password needed. The end of the year at this point, our graduation plan is June 20th, and prom is still going to be June 6th if we're allowed. I read today, right before we got on, that the governor is going to pretty much leave it up to schools to determine how we do graduation and prom. I have another option that I threw out to the high school team, again, literally 30 minutes ago, that we're going to discuss, and then I'll get back with people. As of now, graduation may still be a Memorial Day weekend, but we also have that plan B of June 20th.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone? Mike, would you call the vote?
Croft,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Meininger,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yep.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, now get a motion to approve the resolution for teacher and administrator evaluations. Again, because of the whole remote learning situation, we needed to have a resolution in there in the event. We are going to try to get as many teacher and administrator evaluations completed as possible due to the fact that some of them require SLOs. If the teacher cannot get the SLO completed, then their evaluation automatically rolls over to next year. There's nothing we can do about it. And basically, we have to start over. If we can get all of the pieces complete, we're trying to get as many evaluations complete as we possibly can, so that the administrators don't have that many again to do next year. Basically, what this resolution does is allows us to do that. And I just realized that I was supposed to say all of that after you did your motions. Sorry.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mandy,
Second.
Michelle,
So everything I just said, I'm saying here. Sorry.
the SEA has given their seal of approval for this as well.
Yeah, we actually were looking at some other options that legally we actually couldn't do. So,
Okay. Any other questions? Mike, we call roll, please.
Croft,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yep.
Meininger,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, last thing that I have is need a motion to approve the Latchkey Parent and Student Handbook and Employee Handbook for next school year.
Do I have a motion?
I'll
So moved.
motion.
Well, that was a close one. I think Jason
Second.
finished before Linda, so Jason
I'll
and Linda.
second.
All right.
Any questions from anyone on this? Mike, will you call for the vote?
Schaffner,
Yep.
Meininger,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is the legislative report. Mandy.
Okay. As far as the legislative report, obviously the big thing is that the governor announced today that we would not return to a normal go to school, that we'll continue with distance learning for the rest of the school year. Looking back, just some highlights of things that have happened since our last meeting. The House Bill 197 came about that contained several education issues, including something that's come up in our meetings with the freeze to the Ed Choice eligibility for at the 2019-2020 eligibility list, and then moving the primary election date to April 28th. It also waived state testing for the 2019-2020 school year and authorized the boards of education to obviously use the means that we're using today for our meeting. It also provided that local flexibility for graduation requirements, teacher evaluations, and more. So there was a lot of information in that. The other information that the state is continuing to update is the frequently asked questions with further guidance for the districts in response to House Bill 197. They also have information on their website to help with remote learning resources, state testing, school nutrition programs, and they just keep kind of adding to it so that it covers the different things that are changing. And we just keep playing things day by day. And that's pretty much the gist of everything that's gone on.
Thank you, Mandy. Any questions? Next item then is our UVCC report by Michelle.
Well, the March meeting was my first experience with a Zoom meeting, and it got started off on a good note. We had a successful opening with roll call and approval of the board agenda and the February minutes. Then my laptop lost internet connection and I was in a panic. Eventually I got back on, but I had missed a couple of the board members' reports. However, I was able to listen to Dr. Luce give the first reading of the emergency board policy regarding virtual open meetings. And then Mr. Gibson, who is the director of operations, gave updates on the coronavirus and everything that the custodial staff was doing. And he said, currently only one head custodian reports to work to check on the buildings. But when the time comes, all the custodial workers will report once again to do a thorough cleaning. Mr. Hawk, who is the assistant superintendent, reported that there are still quite a few students without internet access, so they're working to resolve that issue. He said teachers are delivering instructions 4 days a week and using Fridays for feedback or makeup. And the focus is on new material that is meaningful, not busy work. And then there was no public participation, and the rest of the meeting was approving the financial purchases, donations, and the approval of some of the personnel contracts.
Thank you, Michelle. Any questions? I know of no reason that we should go into executive session. Does anyone have a reason?
No.
No.
Nope.
Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
Linda,
I'll second.
Michelle, any discussion?
No.
Mike, will you call roll?
Meininger. Oh, Meininger,
Yes,
Lot,
Yes.
yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yep.
and Smith.
Yes.
Didn't hear it the first time. Motion carries.
I want to say that a lot of people like the signs that the school put out for the seniors. I've had a lot of good comments about that. I think that was a nice thing to do.
Yeah, that turned out really well. This high school staff did a great job with that.
Yeah,
They sure
that's
did.
nice.
Mhm.
And tonight at 8:20 or 20:20.
Yes. And I knew that you would be happy about that, Bob, that military time. That's the whole reason for the 8:20. So
That makes perfect sense. Okay, thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Maybe